I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, you're going to end up alone. Well, I've got a couple quotes I want to go over here. I've got an email here from a guy who, I guess he's got into his 30s in the country he happens to live in. He's got friends, family, everybody's just giving him a rash of shit because he's not married and he's not in a relationship yet, and it's really weighing on him. And I've got a quote from Stevie Wonder. I love his. He says, you can't base your life off of other people's expectations. And another one, this is from Chinese Proverbs that I want to share. He who is not satisfied with himself will grow. He who is not sure of his own correctness will learn many things. So his email, he says, hey coach, tomorrow's my 30th birthday and I'm not so happy, and here's why. There was another quote I read. It's in my list of quotes. It's, whether you're happy or you're miserable, the amount of work involved is still the same. Whether you make yourself happy or you make yourself miserable, it's the same amount of work. In other words, it's a conscious choice. You're the one deciding moment by moment what things mean to you. And so if your life is sucking ass, it's because you're labeling the things that are going on in your life as obviously sucking ass and not focusing on the things that you have to be grateful for. And I know sometimes in life really sucks ass. It's like, before I started shooting this video, I really wanted to take my fucking computer and throw it through the fucking wall because I was having a problem with it. So I was pretty ticked off, but it's like, you gotta decide what and so like now I'm gonna have to make a trip to the Apple Store, and it's like, that's pissing me off. It's like, so how do I look at it? And I'm looking at it going, you know what, there's a really cool place in the food court that I like eating at, and I haven't been in the mall in a while. And so I try to find good things. It's like, no matter what happens in life, I always try to ask myself, like, what's good about this? How can I learn from this? How can this help me? I mean, sometimes life, things just happen, and there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do about it except to put your fucking head down and plow through, just like I'm doing here with this video. Like I said, I really want to smash my computer. It would just make me feel so good to take a hammer and just destroy this thing right now. But it's a very expensive piece of equipment, and I'm not going to do it. So I'm managing my state. I still got a smile on my face. I'm still laughing about it. It's just, shit happens, you know. And no matter what happens in life, you got to find a way to find the humor in things. You got to try to find. And it's like, is the glass half full or is it half empty? And it's always better to be a half full kind of person. It's like, I always tend to look at the brighter side in things. Who knows, maybe I'll go to the Apple Store and there'll be just unbelievably smoking hot woman and we'll have a great connection and I'll spend the rest of my life with that person. I mean, you just never know. And so you always got to try to have a positive outlook on things. Assign positive, meaningful meanings to the things and the circumstances of your life. He says, my story is that I'm a nice guy, I've got nice guy syndrome, I'm a needy pleaser, etc. Then you know what I'm talking about. Needless to say, I pissed away my 20s by being the way that I am. I had a couple of short-term flings and hookups, one longer relationship with the girl I was really not into, and many, many friend zone landings. I knew I was doing something wrong, and I recognized my unsuccessful patterns of behavior, both in my romantic relationships and also in my friendships. My family was really fucked up emotionally, and so for the past several years, I was writing my diary, collecting information, and came to some conclusions about myself. But when I found your videos and your book, it was the missing piece of the puzzle, so to speak. I work constantly on improving my life and relationships, but there's usually a but. He says, it's really hard. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Life sometimes really is a motherfucker. It's like I had no control over my computer deciding to go fucking apeshit on me. And I know quite a bit about my computers, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm not going to take a fucking trip to the Apple Store. It is what it is, dude. He says, even when nobody's interfering, life can be hard. And people are interfering in my life constantly. He says, I don't know about the USA, but here in Europe, he lives in the Balkans. He says, there's pressure to get married before the age of 30. And people say to me constantly the same things. You can do whatever you want when you're in your 20s, but once you hit the number 30, it's time to get serious. Serious about what? I mean, life's meant to be enjoyed. The whole purpose of being on this planet is to find a way to make your life and your lifestyle something that supports your beliefs, your habits, your desires, your goals, your dreams. and simply the things that you really enjoy doing in life. He says it's hard to find a decent, and here's another one, he says, it's hard to find a decent wife when you're in your 30s, almost impossible. Well, these are other people's expectations. These are other people's belief systems that they're projecting onto you. And the only way that they'll have any power on you is if you decide to believe in the bullshit that they're telling you. And besides, if your parents are busting your balls, like, Mom, Dad, I love you, but I'm sorry, but you guys are kind of fucked up, and so I'm really not interested in taking advice from you in the relationship department or the parenting department. I've had these conversations with my own father at times. It's like, come on, dude. Don't even go there. So he says, here's another, are all the good ones taken? Get the first one you meet and hold on to her. You're going to end up alone. These are all his relatives, the kind of shit that they're saying to him. You had your shot with experimenting. Now it's over. It's time to get serious. He says, I know it's not the truth, but when you listen to the same shit like this every day from your family and from all your friends, it starts getting to you like an evil spell. Well, let me stop you right there. This is really important. The quality of your life is going to be in direct proportion to the quality of the people who you consistently spend your time with. And so if your family and your friends are always busting your balls about how you choose to live your life and the fact you're not married yet or you're not in a relationship, whatever it happens to be, whatever their fucking BS standard that they're holding you to that you're not meeting, at the end of the day, you got to let that shit go. And if the people are not in your life that support you in your lifestyle, then you've got to meet some new people. Go hang out with people who are living and thinking and doing the kinds of things that you want to think, live, and do with your own life. He says people look at you like something's wrong with you, and if you're 30 and single, they almost pity you, and that annoys me. Again, the only way those beliefs of other people can have an effect on you is if you decide to let them. In other words, you can't always change the circumstances of your life. I mean, obviously you're single right now and you want a chick in your life. You can't instantly, immediately change that. I mean, yeah, you could go to the mall and a half hour from now run into a woman who becomes the greatest love of your life and you spend the rest of your life with her, or 2 minutes or 2 weeks or 2 months, whatever it happens to be. But when the circumstances of your life are not something that you can immediately change in a meaningful way, the only thing you got a choice over is what that event or that circumstance actually means to you. So he says, also I'm aware of my huge knowledge gap when it comes to relationships and interacting with women, and sometimes I'm angry at myself because of that. Why was I so stupid earlier? Why did I not come to my senses earlier? Sometimes I really start to think that I can never compensate for my missed 20s. Well, let me tell you something. No matter how bad or how fucked up or how much success you believe you haven't experienced yet when it comes to the members of the opposite sex, here's something that will give you great comfort. The first time you meet and you go out and you make love to a woman who fucking knocks your socks off, the first time you realize you're in love with a girl who's crazy about you and you're actually experiencing what you once dreamed about, it will be sweeter than anything you've experienced in your life. The first time I made love to a woman, I'm not talking about having sex. I had lots of sex before I made love for the first time. But the first time I made love to a girl who I was fucking crazy about and who felt the same way about me, it's like, dude, every sexual encounter, every date that I had ever had, every rejection I ever had, the fucked up family that I came from, all of that shit. And I was in my, let me think, I was like 30, I was in my early 30s, I was like 31, 32 at the time. I mean, that was the first fucking time in my life. I was in my 30s. It was the first time I ever experienced that, and I was in my 30s. And here I am reading this, and you're bitching about the same thing. But, I mean, I had a lot more experience, obviously, than you've had with other women in my 20s, but it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if I slept with 1,000 different women, had sex with 1,000 different women. The bottom line is the first time I made love to a girl who I was crazy about and who felt the same way about me, all that other shit, it was fucking worth it. The fact that my mom and my dad were fucked up, emotionless zombies made it all worth it. Didn't matter about all the fact that I got married and divorced. in my mid-20s to somebody I shouldn't have married, and I went through all the whole process of a divorce and all that shit, none of that mattered. It didn't fucking bother me one bit, because as we were laying naked in bed together and her skin was on mine, and it was just, it was fucking magical, dude. It's like, so forget about all these weak fucking people in your life who are jawboning at you and talking shit. Doesn't fucking matter, dude. The way you got to look at it is that you need to focus on whatever it is that you personally need to do right now in your life, whether it's getting your ass to the gym, eating better, losing weight, changing your career, starting that business that you always wanted to start, meeting new friends that support you, that believe in you, who have similar interests, who have similar goals, similar dreams. You got to have people along your journey that support you and believe in you. Because the world has no fucking shortage of people that are going, you're stupid, you're a fucking idiot, that'll never work out for you, why aren't you married yet, why don't you have any kids yet, whatever fucking weak ass bullshit. The world is full of people like that. And so the best thing you can do for yourself is to start spending more time around people who are like-minded, who have similar interests, who like to do the things that you like to do. Because life is hard enough without spending your time listening to people chirping in your ear all day long about how you're failing and how you're failing to reach whatever ridiculous level of your own potential that they feel like you're not meeting. Doesn't matter. Again, the only way other people have... Like, there's another quote that I love. This is by a character in the Stargate series, Teal'c. He said, to resist the influence of others, knowledge of oneself is most important. What did Socrates say? He said, know thyself. And so when you get to a place where you know, without a doubt, what's most important to you and what you have a burning desire to do in your life, that will give you peace of mind. It will give you a sense of contentment, because you're not marching to the beat of somebody else's drum. You're marching to the beat of your own drum, doing the things that you want to do when you want to do them and with who you want to do them with. So he says, now girls close to my age are looking for husbands usually, and I start to think that I can never fill that knowledge gap and my time is really running out. Well, it's like, dude, you just turned 30. It's like I was 31, 32, but the first time I made love to a girl, I'm not talking about having sex. Like I said, I was married, I had lots of sex, lots of different girls at that point. But like I said, it's like none of that shit mattered. When I made love for the first time, it was almost as if all the rest of that stuff, it didn't amount to a whole hill of beans, as they say. So he says, no matter how much I try, I start thinking I can never progress. Maybe it's really over. I would really like to explore women much more, to experiment more, and to find the right girl for me, and also to improve my life and to find the right career. I don't want to end up working a miserable job and having a miserable marriage and have fucked up miserable children. That's exactly what motivated me to leave my wife in my 20s, because I was like, I could see my life path, and I could see where it was going, and I didn't fucking like it. And there was absolutely no way in hell I was going to settle anymore. I mean, I got to a place in my life where I was just like, that's it. I'm done with this bullshit. And maybe now is a good time for you to get to a place in your life where you say, you know what, Corey, I'm done with that bullshit. I'm done with these fucking weak-ass people always whining and bitching and telling me I'm this and telling me I'm that. It's like, from this day forward, I'm never going to let any of their bullshit have an effect on me. And I'm simply going to move toward the direction of a life that's emotionally compelling. You have to do something you have a passion for. You got to do something you love if you really want to be great at it later in life. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's a conscious choice. You choose what things mean to you. It's something to think about. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen, send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several weeks to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. I will talk to you soon.